well and fine. And say well done. In your previous topic, we studied about the Indian Constitution and the history of Indian Constitution. The history of Indian Constitution began with national movement. Okay, this national movement was divided into three phases. That is moderate phase, okay, and extremist phase and Gandhian phase. Okay, so all the leaders of three phases, they made their relentless efforts to achieve independence. Finally, in Gandhian phase, under the leadership of Mahatma Gandhi, we achieved our independence. And after independence, after a few years of independence, we made a new constitution for our country. Okay, so let's see the details of the Indian Constitution here. These are the salient features of the Indian Constitution. Okay, what? Salient features of the Indian Constitution. Salient features means noticeable features. Okay, noticeable features and important features. Important features of Indian Constitution. Noticeable and important features of Indian Constitution. Let's start with introduction. The Indian Constitution was approved and adopted on 26th November 1949 by the Constituent Assembly. Okay, Dr. Rajendra Prasad was the chairman of Constituent Assembly and Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was the chairman of drafting committee. The Constitution came into force on 26 January 1950. So, India got a new Constitution on 26 January 1950. So, a new Constitution came into force from 26 January 1950. So, our Constitution is a start from a preamble. Preamble is what? It is the starting part of the Indian Constitution. It is a preface of the Indian Constitution. So, Constitution is starting with preamble. It explains about the aims, objectives and goals of the Indian Constitution. Okay, in 1976, by 42nd Amendment, it was amended for the first time. The means that in 1976 and by 42nd Amendment. 42nd Amendment means 42nd modification. Means amendment means some modification or some changes in the Constitution. So, the changes made for the first time in 1976 by 42nd Amendment, and these amendments done to add this word secular and socialist to the preamble. So, by this amendment, these two words secular and socialist are added to the Indian preamble. Okay. So, in that way, the preamble of the Constitution is the starting part and it explains the aims and objectives of the Indian Constitution. Okay, and in 1976 by 42nd Amendment, it is amended for the first time to add the word secular and socialist in the preamble. Now, very first point, okay, of Indian Constitution, very first point of the features of Indian Constitution is Indian Constitution is a written, detailed and lengthiest constitution. Means Indian Constitution was a written, it is a written one, it is a written constitution. Okay, it took 2 years. How many years? 2 years, 11 months and 18 days. Okay, to write and enact. To write and enact means to write and pass. Okay, articles. Okay, we will see the articles. Okay, how many articles were there at the time when Constitution came into force, and now at present how many articles are there? Articles are what? These are the written clauses or paragraphs. So let's see how many articles are there in this Constitution. Earlier, when it was framed, it was 356 articles. How many articles is there? 356. Now it is at present, it is 486 articles in Indian Constitution. Okay, and at the time when it was framed, there were 8 schedules. Now it is 12 schedules in the Indian Constitution. And let's see the parts. How many parts were there? There were 22 parts. Okay, now it is 24 parts in the Indian Constitution. So in that way, Indian Constitution is a written one as it is in the written form, and it is detailed one and lengthiest one. Means when we compare to other constitutions like USA Constitution, it has 11 articles, and Canada Constitution, Canadian Constitution has 128 articles. So in that way, when we make comparison also, we will see that our constitution is a written one, it is detailed and earliest constitution of the world. Okay. Now, the second feature of Indian constitution is India is a sovereign, socialist, democratic republic. So, it means that India is a sovereign country, means it has supreme power, okay, supreme power, or you can say independence also, independence. Okay. So, India is a sovereign country, means it is sovereign, independent, internally and externally. Internally and externally. Internally means it is sovereign to take decisions. It has supreme power to take decisions in the country. Okay, and externally means it is independent from the control of any other country. So, in that way, India is a sovereign country. Socialist country means a country, okay, a country in which people enjoy social, political, and economic rights. So, it is called socialist country. Democratic country means India is a democratic country means India is a democratic as people elect their representatives and they are ruled by the elected representatives, and people here enjoy rights and liberties. That's why India is a democratic country. Republic means India is a republic country as the head of the state president is elected, and here in India the hereditary method is not followed like Britain. Okay, so that's why India is a republic country. So in that way, India is a sovereign, socialist, democratic republic country. It is sovereign internally and externally. Okay, it is socialist because people enjoy here social, political, and economic rights. Okay, and democratic in the sense here people like their representatives and they enjoy rights and liberties. Republic means the head of the state is elected. Got it? Now unitary and federal features of the Indian Constitution. Okay, India has some unitary features and some federal features. Unitary means here, one example of the unitary feature is the president rule is imposed on the state in the times of emergency. Okay, this is the unitary feature of the Indian Constitution. And federal features means there is a division of power between the center and the state. This is the federal feature of Indian Constitution. And the idea of unitary and federal feature, the idea of unitary and federal is taken from the Australian Constitution. Okay. So now let's see the another point, that is parliamentary government. Okay. India means the Constitution of India provided parliamentary government both at the center and the state. Okay, here the executive is responsible to the legislature. Parliamentary government is one in which the executive is responsible to the legislature for its actions. So in that way, the Constitution of India provided parliamentary government both at the center and the state level. And this idea of parliamentary government is borrowed from the Constitution of England. Okay. Now, independent judiciary. Okay. Independent judiciary means the judiciary here in India enjoy independence. Okay, it is not under the control or domination of the executive branch of the government. So, in this way, India has independent judiciary. Okay. Now come to the next point, that is directive principles. Directive principles are what? These are the guidelines, okay, given to the central, state and local government. These are the guidelines mentioned for the central, state and local government in the Constitution of India, and it is mentioned in the part 4 and article 36 to 51. And these idea of directive principles is borrowed from Irish Constitution. Okay, directive principles give importance to social, economic, justice and welfare state. Dr. N. P. Sharma divided these directive principles into 3 categories. What are these 3 categories? Let's see here. These are socialist principles, Gandhian principles and liberal principles. Okay, now talk about fundamental rights. Fundamental rights are means incorporated in Indian Constitution in part 3rd and article 12 to 35. And these idea of fundamental rights are taken from American Constitution. Okay, fundamental rights at present there are 6 fundamental rights, because right to property is deleted from the list of fundamental rights in 1978 by 42nd Amendment. 44th Amendment. Okay, which right is deleted from the list of fundamental rights? Right to property is deleted from the list of fundamental rights by 44th Amendment. Okay, and now it is a legal right. Okay, which right? Right to property is a legal right. Okay, fundamental rights are universal. Means these are universal. Means these are applicable to all. And justiciable. Justiciable means these are imposed by the court of law. And punishment of fundamental rights leads to punishment. So in that way it is justiciable. And but they are not absolute. They are not absolute means the citizens cannot misuse it because there are some reasonable restrictions on fundamental rights by the government. Okay. So what did we read about this? First of all, we read the introduction of Indian Constitution. In introduction, it is approved by Constituent Assembly on 26 November 1949, and it is enforced in 26 January 1950. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was the chairman of drafting committee, and Dr. Rajendra Prasad was the chairman of Constituent Assembly. And preamble. We read about preamble. Preamble is what? It is the starting part, and it explains the aims and objectives. Then we read about the India's features of the Indian Constitution. First is Indian Constitution. Indian Constitution is the lengthiest, detailed and written constitution of the world. Okay, it took 2 years, 11 months, and 18 days to come into force to write and enact. Okay, and it has 486 articles at present, and 12 schedules and 24 parts. Okay, India is a sovereign country, it is a socialist country and democratic country. Means it is an independent country, it has supreme power, and it is a socialist country. Means here people enjoy social, political and economic rights. Democratic country means here people enjoy rights and liberties. Republic means the head of the state is elected here. Okay, unitary federal features, president rule, okay, and division of powers. Parliamentary government means it has parliamentary government. Indian Constitution has provided parliamentary government both at the center and the state. Okay, here the executive is responsible to the legislature. And independent judiciary means independent judiciary enjoy independency. Okay, it is not under the control of the executive government. Directive principles, it is the guidelines. Okay, and it give importance to social and economic justice and welfare state. Fundamental rights, okay, in Article 12 to 35, and these ideas take well from American Constitution, and at present there are 6 fundamental